Good morning, universe. Hello, TNAMers. Thanks for joining today. Let's make sure that we are streaming to the appropriate locations. It takes a moment to wind up here. So we will take a look at things. Actually, where is that? I used to have the Dow Jones today. Dow Jones is up 200 points today. Look at that. Over the past month, it's up 200 points. What's going on? Everything says the same number. That's not right. Hold on. Let me refresh. It's up 200 points today. It's not showing me. Every time I click on 5 year, 1 year, year to date, 6 months. Anyway, it's up 3,000 points in a month. So, if you're panic buying based on your Democrat lying legacy media propaganda, fear porn, I would encourage you to not do that ever. Don't believe them. Don't freak out. We're renegotiating trade deals. This is not apocalyptic in any way. All right, we're going to share this to our groups on Facebook. Join us live. And then check Rumble is working. Maybe it'll work this time. Perfection. We are rocking and rolling. There we go. Let's get it going. Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere in between two formerly tariffed nations. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Wednesday, May 7th, 2025, and this is the TNAM AM show. All right. So what's going on in the world? Well, there's a war that's growing over in Pakistan and India. What's that all about? Should the U.S. be involved? We're having the conversation. Got a war in Gaza because they attacked Israel, and now they don't want to get destroyed. Well, maybe they shouldn't have started a war. Ukraine, well, Ukraine teamed up with Victoria Nuland, Barack Hussein Obama, and Joe Biden, and they kept pushing, bioweapons labs, pushing, United Nations pushing, weapons systems pushing. And after a bunch of Russian warnings, they eventually pushed back and said, we're not tolerating this. So there's another war going on. That's not to mention the war inside of the United States, because 30 million illegal alien invaders have been deposited, pre-positioned across the country, potentially for future attacks. So be prepared, people. Having a guitar in your closet doesn't make you a musician any more than having a weapon in your home makes you a marksman. Get trained, learn. Also take care of your physical health, please. So these are some of the topics that we're going to get into. Our main story is Deep State's Thom Tillis is blocking what President Trump is trying to do with the D.C. prosecutor nominee. It's time to drain the swamp, isn't it? I think it is. So I believe we are streaming to the Unhappy Hour sports show today. Hit like, hit subscribe, however you are watching. Our donation links are right at the bottom if you would care to throw us a tip, put a tip on the bar that we could toss into the tip jar. We're on Patreon at the New American Media, Venmo at Brian Engelman, Cash App Brian Engelman, and PayPal at Fuzz Installment. And then, of course, at the bottom of the screen now, the New American Media is on Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitch, Kick, D-Live, and YouTube. Search the New American Media. We're on Telegram and Signal at TNAM and TNAM Chat. And we're on X at American_Media_. Also get our two podcasts, the Agree to Disagree show, which covers the TNAM AM show, and the Unhappy Hour sports show. They're on Spotify and Apple. So how about we do this and jump into the news, the briefest of brief recaps here. Yeah, this was lousy. The Cavaliers had this game in hand, and it came down to a bunch of miscues at the end, turnovers, inability to do the basic things, and the Indiana Pacers had a Tyrese Halliburton 3-point shot go in with 1 second to go, and they snatched a win from the jaws of defeat. Now they lead the number 1 Eastern Conference seed, Cleveland Cavaliers, 2-0. It is dire in Cleveland. Dire. Denver knocked down the number 1 seed Oklahoma City Thunder. Denver leads 1-0. They'll play later today. And the number 7 Warriors advancing. Well, not advancing, but they took an early lead on the Golden State Warriors, 1-0. They'll play tomorrow. The Knicks took out the number 2 seed Celtics, at least in the first game. Knicks lead 1-0. So it looks like all of the underdogs are getting the wins. Except the problem is in Cleveland, we're down 2 games now. 1-1 is one thing, but now it's looking dire. So that is the recap on your NBA. So I gave you the recap on the Dow Jones. That's your money. Your frivolous sports. We'll get you updated here. Edmonton Oilers lead the Golden Knights 1-0 in their series. Game 1 today between the Jets and the Stars. Maple Leafs lead the Panthers 1-0 in a best of 4 series, and Carolina leads the Capitals 1-0. So that's what we had to show you in sports. We're having such a productive, such a fast-paced show today. I'm going to try to get you all of the information you need to know. Let's switch to this tab. We'll go side by side. Hit like, hit subscribe, however you're watching today. And feel free to leave your comments. We appreciate having those. As they come through, we will probably put them on the screen so that your conversation becomes a part of the show. Okay, Mike Collins here. Representative Mike Collins says you currently need more identification to fly than you do to vote. One of those has drastic implications on democracy in our country, and one gets your family to Disney World. Something has to change. I agree. If you missed this roughly 7-year-old CIA tweet, remember it. I believe it's accurate. I've watched it reported multiple occasions. CIA officers work as scientists, support staff, engineers, economists, linguists, mathematicians, secretaries, accountants, inventors, cartographers, architects, psychologists, police officers, editors, graphic designers, auto mechanics, historians, museum curators, and more. Is that super sus? I find that to be super suspect. Shouldn't you? Go ahead and watch this clip. It's a 3-minute clip about how they are brainwashing your children as they have brainwashed you. Not going to play it, but it's a 3-minute clip, and it's helpful to know. I'm Not Having Fun Anymore puts this out on Instagram. And if you follow us on Instagram, you'll get these tidbits all across the top of your screen. You can tap through them and just get a snapshot of what's going on and some interesting stuff to consider. It's a really good daily feed. If you're not linked up with the New American Media in that regard, I think you're missing out. I'm Not Having Fun Anymore says the penalty for treason is death, if you even care. Oh, I think we care. In yesterday's show, can I show you the link? Didn't I share yesterday's show? I believe I shared it on X. Now, where is it? Do I need to share it again? I might need to share it again. I don't see yesterday's show. I know I shared it. try it again. Okay, sharing now. We'll share this tab instead. Stop this from playing. What is playing? And there we go. Okay. This is our show from yesterday. Arrest and detain Fauci on Alcatraz immediately. True or false? Do you agree or disagree? Good morning, David. No notification today. Kenneth blared it and shared it. All right. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, we're doing a rapid fire show today. Sometimes sometimes time constraints get in the way. I love how I constantly do that now. A series of 45 words they don't get jumbled up. Like it's just when words are organized a certain way, I slow down, I stop, and then I will repeat the phrase that I was attempting to say when I notice that I got a little tongue-tied on the spot. But yes, check out yesterday's show about Anthony Fauci perhaps being the first person in Alcatraz. I say put him in a plastic box, put him in a plexiglass cage as an exhibit, and keep doing your tours of Alcatraz and keep him in the middle. Keep him in the middle. Let's not be cruel. Allow him some room for privacy to use a bathroom facility. But he should have to live in a cage. And he should have to be able to listen to the people going on the tour to talk to him or say things to him or explain how their lives were ruined by Fauci and his ilk and the disease that he unleashed with his bioweapons research in Wuhan. Allegedly, right? Allegedly, is that what we're doing? Allegedly? We'll tell you this, for countervailing views, go ahead and on anything health and election related, go to cdc.gov, who.int, and cisa.gov/rumor control, because they might tell you that Fauci's a hero. I'll tell you that he's responsible for erasing half my family. So I think Fauci should be in a plexiglass cage. They should still do the tours of Alcatraz while they are renovating Alcatraz for him and all of the other treasonous monsters who have been trying to destroy America from the inside out. And then, yeah, expand Alcatraz. Keep it as a symbol of why you don't F around. Actually, you know what? I was asked this question yesterday. Where does the phrase F around and find out originate from? Because someone's like, did Trump come up with that? I'm like, no, that's been around for a long time, but I roots in African American vernacular English, AAVE. It's tough to pinpoint. It gained traction late 20th century, particularly in urban and hip hop culture. Mess around or act recklessly or provocatively and face the consequences. Online, it surged through memes and social media, on Twitter and Reddit around the 2010s. A 2011 tweet by Mr. McVie, F around and find out, FAFO, is often cited as an early digital example. It's also tied to biker culture and Southern U.S. vernacular, tending to assert dominance to deter troublemakers. FAFO has become shorthand in recent years, appearing in hashtags and even political contexts, like the 2020 protests or in conservative online spaces. While no single source owns it, its raw confrontational vibe has made it a cultural staple. All right, so FAFO. No, rapid fire, not rabbit fire. Although rapids do multiply like rapidly. So there's that. Anyway, I digress. Let's check out yesterday's show about Fauci. Okay, let's get back. I'm not having fun anymore. It has a wide range of stuff. I don't know what they have here. Let's see if there's anything else good. History, in fact, shows that no, cooler heads do not prevail. Violence prevails. Well, we have 3 wars going on, including the war to overthrow the United States right now, and the war to overthrow Canada, and the narco war at the southern border with Mexico, because they're essentially running Mexico. I guess there's a lot of warfare right now. Here's a group of people descending from a building saying, we're just here to remind you that this is a sovereign nation. This will only take a moment. Whoosh. I think what they're getting at is that there are perpetrators trying to destroy America, the American way of life, the ability for ourselves to fund our existence. And the people who are stealing from us and trying to steal our country, they will be facing consequences. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary to cast off the shackles of a previous government and reinstitute one that works for the people, well, that's the Declaration of Independence. This is a sovereign nation. We are, of the 99%, we are here, we are everywhere, and we are very, very pissed off. That's an A, that's anarchy. I'm not sure that I'm down with anarchy, but, you know. Aristotle said that some people were only fit to be slaves. I do not contradict him, but I reject slavery because I see no men fit to be master. C.S. Lewis. I did like this one here. God will make you the dark horse of triumph, the unexpected victor against the odds, despite the challenges. Remain steadfast. Keep the faith. I kind of like that one. Americans will work 2 jobs, live like this, and still defend the system. If you're not called to live for it, then what good is dying for it? It's an interesting account, this I'm not having fun anymore. Let's listen in about Mexico and... Oh, here, I give you so much shitty news, not because I'm a shitty person, but it's because there's so much awful stuff going on. Here's a great piece of video, just because. Baby having a conversation with its dog.
Is that puppy funny?
And by the way, just think, there are people out there that harm dogs like Anthony Fauci, torturing, I mean, sadistically eating beagles alive. There are people on this earth that will abuse puppies and will abuse children. They should both be executed. Yeah. Yeah, these are crimes against humanity, and this is why we show up each day. This is why we give a shit. This is why we speak louder. This is why we cover the news. It's why the new American media exists. It's why we've tuned out of the lying legacy media. They promote Fauci, who abuses beagles. Go look into that story if you want to vomit. And there's a bunch of people that go after children. Look around the Democrat Party to find a bunch of people protecting child abusers, if you will. Also, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, where the hell are the Epstein files? But yeah, look, this is the most interesting conversation I've ever heard. This is a palate cleanser. A dog speaking with the baby. I mean, come on, how great is that? I could do this all day.
Is that puppy funny?
Anyway, palate cleanser. These things jump out and just snap and don't let go. Thinking no one else in Australia.
So this is Nellie's first time touching the grass.
Watch the face on this.
Here we go.
Baby touches the grass for the first time. Watch how the face looks.
Whoa.
Ooh.
What's that?
She loves it. Ooh. Oh.
Oh.
You see that grin?
What do you think?
Loving it.
Are you grounding?
Yeah, so there's something that says...
What do you think? Are you grounding?
You're better off grounding. Take your shoes and socks off. Go stand on the earth. Stand on the
Yeah, this is relaxing.
There's something energetically that happens.
She loves being outside.
Maybe
So this is Nellie's first time touching the grass.
What's the one? Parasites be gone. Oh, we used to have bells everywhere. Now we don't. There's a lot of theories on that. David says put the cups on Dr. Fauci now, yes. You can do stuff like that. The dog children, people without a heart. Yeah. Look around and find God. That's a good way to phrase that. You said what building is that? What was that in reference to? What building was what? I'm not sure which one was. And yeah, James will keep this supposed to release something today. Oh, it's on the Epstein files today. Well, let's ring the bells and tell everyone.
So Mexico is saying that I offered to send U.S. troops into Mexico to take care of the cartel. She wants to know, is that true? Do you think I'm going to answer that question?
That's why I'm asking. We'll see.
I will answer it. It's true.
And why would you do that?
Because they are horrible people that have been killing people left and right, they've made a fortune on selling drugs and destroying our people. We lost 300,000 people last year to fentanyl and drugs. They're bad news. Yeah, that's true. If Mexico wanted help with the cartels, we would be honored to go in and do it. So Mexico is saying that I offered to send U.S. troops into Mexico to take care of the cartels. She wants to know, is that true?
So yeah. There you go. We got another war at our southern border, and you look around Arizona, New Mexico, Katie Hobbs. You're looking at all sorts of things, trying to figure out why things appear to be upside down and backward. Well, maybe the wrong people are in charge, and maybe the infiltration is really deep. President Trump is working to go after the cartels that are killing Americans. Hundreds of thousands poisoned by fentanyl. Enough is enough.
I finally have titty parties.
Like an animal, but then I've seen
Read.
Here are 5 jobs that
So I want to record one last video for the day.
Mulan would make a.
Back in 45, they didn't know the sheer.
Anyway, we might be getting involved in Mexico, people. Keep it peeled. Keep your eyes peeled. Now, why is this not loading? James Dunn here is reporting over 90% of illegal immigrants skip their hearing for residency status. It's not that illegal aliens are being robbed of due process. They chose to forego it when they skipped the immigration line, crossed the border illegally, and then didn't bother to show up to their hearing. Now, I don't know if these numbers are exactly accurate, but far too many people are skipping their trials. You shouldn't be able to wait on the inside. You got to wait in Mexico. And Mexico needs to stop these caravans of people, or else they can wait in Mexico. We need to have some sort of common sense policy regarding how we get the best and the brightest into the country. David Harris Jr. is reporting this from Attorney General Pam Bondi. There's a massive takedown. Remember when I said in the American Southwest, New Mexico, Arizona? Well, here's an update on what's been happening with drug and weapons trafficking in New Mexico.
Multi-agency operation led by DEA with our local, state, tribal, and federal partners targeted one of the largest and most dangerous drug trafficking and foreign terrorist organizations in our country. The DEA seized 11.5 kilos of fentanyl, including an astounding approximately 3 million fentanyl pills, the largest seizure in our nation's history. These are the pills in the bags right there. The main bottom right, the head of this organization, Sinaloa organization, here in the country illegally, 6 of these guys and women here in the country illegally. His name is Alberto Salazar Amaya. He is the leader, and he was living in Salem, Oregon. With him, they got millions of dollars, cash, cars, but the drugs were in Albuquerque, Phoenix, and Utah. That's how insulated these drug dealer cartel leaders make themselves. This multi-agency operation led by DEA with our local, state, tribal, and federal partners targeted one of the largest and most...
Good job, Pam Bondi. We said, thank you, President Trump and AG Bondi. Can we please start arresting the Epstein Files people and the treasonous anti-Trump, anti-MAGA politicians who have been destroying America for decades? Here's a 2.5-minute clip, but this is a Tucker Carlson interview shared by MJ Truth Ultra, talking about weaponized ticks, fleas, and mosquitoes. The intent is this is the perfect stealth weapon. It's a poor man's nuke. We can off 10,000 people at like $1.33 a life. You drop these insects on an enemy, it weakens the population. It ties up the medical resources, but it doesn't destroy infrastructure like a nuclear bomb would. Okay. These are the bioweapons madmen running around Ukraine, running around Fauci Labs, running around Wuhan. Watch that video. I'm asking if we can debunk this. This is a Question Antiquity account with a comparison of Oklahoma City bomber Timothy McVeigh and FBI agent Paul Wysopal. We said, what do you think? They just kind of take this guy and they're going to rotate, take an image, match up. How do the ears match up? Well, it looks like, well, are they perfectly matching? Huh. Are they perfectly matching? So they're doing this multiple times. So I'm asking, what can we debunk? Can we debunk this? Or is there something to this? Do they have a fake execution of a fake patsy and, you know, you found your boogeyman and you wiped the story away? Did you see what they're claiming? This is Brody Man on Amazon Prime. They're saying that they altered Ridley Scott's 2010 Robin Hood starring Russell Crowe. Did they really do this?
Okay, so I got tipped off to this that the intro to Robin Hood had been...
Before the intro to Robin Hood, David was saying, bells keep the demons away. What do you know about that? What do you know about bells keeping demons away? I'm listening. That sounds interesting. What else? Where was the other page here? Yep, James O'Keefe set to release the most dangerous story of his career. Alex Jones gives a first look of what to expect tomorrow. Yeah. Let's play it.
Two things I don't break. That's my word
and my
balls. And you got my word. I will continue on with nothing but total integrity because that's the most valuable possession in my life.
All I have in this world is my balls and my word. And I don't break them for no one.
For no one. Okay, get to the story, Alex. Alex, come on, hurry up.
Late last week, one of the greatest investigative journalists of all time, James O'Keefe, released a cryptic, very short video. We'll play in a moment where he said, this is basically the most dangerous thing I've ever done. I'm going into hiding. I text messaged him that night and said, please reach out to me. The next day, he called me and said, Alex, you're the only person I'm telling you this. I'm telling you this for my safety. And then he laid some incredibly disturbing information on me. We're going to talk about more of that in a moment. But first, here is his first video that he put out, letting people know what was coming and that he was...
Well, we did share that video yesterday.
They can't suicide us all.
They can't suicide.
Now, most of you know I don't shy away from covering dangerous information. But it doesn't mean I still don't have my adrenaline racing a little bit with all the different potential developments that are going to come out of what is about to be released. But in the final equation, we're about to review piece by piece the short cryptic trailer and the images that are there. I have a responsibility to tell the truth. And
all right, Alex, you're taking too long, but there's something coming up and we're all looking forward to it. I mean, by the time between now and before I wrap up the show, we might actually know what James O'Keefe puts out. So instead of speculation and maybe hinting and dodging around it, maybe we'll be able to just tell you about it in a moment. But anyway, check out this. This guy got a tip that Amazon Prime altered the opening of Ridley Scott's 2010 Robin Hood featuring Russell Crowe.
Altered for Amazon Prime.
And this is exactly why I encourage everyone to have hard copies of books, hard copies of movies, hard copies of anything you care about. Do not trust a cloud. Do not trust something that, like in George Orwell's 1984, it can be written and rewritten instantaneously. I've had the experience where I am typing and in real time, artificial intelligence is changing and screwing up the meaning of the things that I'm writing. Artificial intelligence is lying to anyone reading what I'm writing because it's showing you things that I did not type. And how many times do I hit send and I go back and go, I did not type that. I know I didn't write that. I didn't spell that. I went past the word and it changed the word to something I did not want it to be. So are they doing this in popular culture? I heard that Disney movies are changing what clouds look like to kind of normalize all of the chemical warfare going on in our skies. I don't know that I've been able to confirm that. But if you look at clouds from movies 30, 40, 50 years ago and compare it to today, I mean, it's obvious that they're spraying tons of shit in the air that we're breathing.
This is the 2010 version, just so you see that it is Prime. There's X-ray right there. There was no text there. Where's the text in this intro to Robin Hood? I remember there being text. Why would they just show parchment?
Parchment? What's that?
So that was the Amazon version. The one on Amazon Prime, it's just the regular cut. Now, this is in my own private digital collection, and look, like you can see, in the times of tyranny and injustice, when law oppress the people, the outlaw takes his place in history.
So they're hiding the fact that when tyranny and injustice oppresses the people, the outlaw
like this
takes its place in history. It's encouraging standing up for yourself. Is Amazon removing that? Because 15 years later, they don't want people standing up for themselves? That's a dangerous concept. If so, why are we doing business with Amazon? We're not here to be their worker bee slaves.
This is my own personal, this is Plex, my own personal digital. And like they even cut out that. So it just all looked seamless.
England, 12th century was a part of was one of those times that people had to rise up.
Why are they doing that? Why is Amazon Prime doing that? Okay, so
anyway, keep your eyes peeled on that, and just remember, anything important, make sure you have a hard copy of it. Yeah, it is great that they're taking down the terrorists. I can sleep in debunk. AI is sort of leftist. Some of it is. But that's super interesting. Hey, listen to what Tim Walz said. I gave him the smiley clown face because he earned it. Check this out.
Look, we had the most qualified person who'd run for president in this country's history at the top of the ticket. That in itself should have got this thing won. We had, in my opinion, and you can disagree with me, I think history will prove me right, a very unqualified person on the other side.
She's not the most qualified presidential candidate in history, is she? Like, by what metric would that be? What does he mean when he says that? Can he even mean that? Does he mean that at all? That means that he's saying that Kamala Harris would have been a better president, or at least a more qualified president, than JFK or Lincoln or FDR. I mean, like, that is an absurd thing. George Washington, come on. You're mad. You've gone completely mad.
Look, we had...
He said gaslighting Democrats are evil.
The most qualified person who'd run for president in this country's history at the top.
Border czar Kamala Harris. Actually, I'm going to type that. Border, CZAR, border czar, Kamala was qualified. Says gas lighting weirdo Walls. The border czar, 30 million illegal alien invaders, saying that she's more qualified than anybody else. Hey, check this out. A convicted child artist was discovered living at a licensed daycare in Massachusetts. Oh, I'm so surprised. That's exactly where a child abuser would go. You go where the kids are. Gross. Can we please bring back public hangings for people that would abuse animals or kids? Please? I think President Trump talked about this with Alcatraz. We've lost that deterrent mechanism. So DC Drano saying, holy crap, the Biden-appointed judge who ruled that the Border Patrol needs a warrant to arrest illegal aliens? That Biden-appointed judge makes millions of dollars from illegal aliens living in her husband's real estate projects? You can't make this up. Investigate this woman for making money off of her insane rulings. Now, having confirmed that, it doesn't have a name of the judge, but let's look into that. Pam Bondi, strong words for cartels.
More arrests are coming. I guarantee you that. And these dealers, these sellers, these street-level sellers better look out, because we will not be negotiating with you. We will bring you to justice, and we will not stop until this poison is off of our streets in our country. More arrests are coming.
It's strong words, yet, that was a close one. I did not want to have that moment on the air. Yeah, so some people said James O'Keefe thing was going to be about Epstein, but is it going to be about Pfizer? So we're trying to figure out, is it going to be about Pfizer, or is it going to be about Epstein, or is it going to be about more than that? You know, I guess we just don't know. And we're not going to know until it comes out. But typically, I do appreciate what they are doing. I do like what James O'Keefe has been up to. We're going to type here in the comments, strong words, yet the treasonous American politicians are still walking around free. Epstein collaborators are still free. Why is it taking so long to arrest these people? Pam Bondi, tough words. We want to see actions. What is this? Officer Tatum telling us about another story.
Thugs decided that they were going to shoot a op, is what they call it, their enemy, and they end up taking the life of a 7-year-old boy. He was 7. He didn't deserve it. He was a kid. And these thugs mowed him down. But let me add this. Do you know why you haven't heard of this story?
No.
Many of you haven't heard of this story?
Breon Allen, 7-year-old gunned down. If you can't make a national story out of that, far more sympathetic than a dude who pistol whips and robs pregnant ladies, you would imagine.
You know why there's no T-shirts? Do you know why you don't see Benjamin Crump? You don't see the NAACP?
I don't know why.
You don't see your favorite actors and comedians and celebrities talking about it? Because these 7 thugs gunned down a 7-year-old black kid. Put the clip on. Put the clip of the young man. If this doesn't infuriate you, I don't know what will. D.L. Hughley, Ari Spears, all of you cowards that come out every single day of the week and cried. You cried yourself to sleep because a white woman said the N-word to a kid. But these young boys murdered this kid.
In silence.
When I saw his picture, I said, I can't look at it. I can't look at it. Because.
So I feel with half the stories I have to tell you. What'd you say, Kenneth? It harshes your vibe, or it harshes your mellow, harshes your vibe? Something like that. If it bleeds, it leads. You know, I don't pick what's in the news. I just kind of break it down.
I'm incredibly sad and disappointed.
Anyway, he's making the point, like, where are you? Why aren't you super loud when young black lives are being snuffed out by black perpetrators? Why is it always you'll make a big deal if there's different races involved, but you'll never make the same outrage? You won't make the same amount of noise when the perpetrator looks like you. Look at the numbers, look at the statistics, look at the propensities, look at the look at the crime data that's released. Most of the black lives that are being taken, they're being taken by black people. But this is not what the NCAA. This is not what college basketball cares about. This is not what the NAACP and some of these professional outrage organizations run on. They run on anti-white rage. They use their racism to push only certain stories. But I've never heard of Breon Allen, a 7-year-old, gunned down. It angers me as much as it does when any other kid of any other skin pigment gets mowed down by monsters. Monsters who half the time were known monsters and they shouldn't have been allowed in free range. They lost their free range privileges. They should have been locked up. I don't know when America got so weak on crime where we keep letting bad people out. But when you got violent, reckless people that are dangerous to all the peaceful people around them, you got to lock those people away for the good of everybody in the community. This is Representative James Comer talking with Benny Johnson. Good Lord, this cannot be true.
You believe it is your contention in closing here that the government doesn't have any files, and that this has been a shell game that was potentially played against the Trump administration, and that they had the right motivations, but that everything has been either shredded, deleted, gone forever.
I don't know. I think the government had information. I don't know if it still exists.
We have the photos, Mr. Chairman. We have the FBI photos of his apartment. We have photos of boxes that are marked evidence, not by the FBI, but by Epstein. Boxes of hard drives and tapes and CDs. I mean, they're all available. You can see them. They've been published a million times. They're the government's photographs.
And they always use the excuse, well, there's an ongoing investigation. Yeah. And they're still using that now.
That's a crutch.
But it's been a long time, and they've had plenty of time. And people keep disappearing that were key witnesses in this case. So the time to release that information is now. The president has ordered it. The attorney general has ordered it. Either they're disobeying the president and the attorney general, or the evidence is no longer in existence. There's no in between. There's either or.
You're exactly right. People are disappearing. One final thought on this. Matt Gaetz, I know he's a dear friend of yours, was on the program, made a lot of news saying that he thought he knows that the American government allowed a foreign government into the federal prison system to get rid of Epstein and turned off the cameras and the lights. Have you
Could
heard
be.
of that?
I don't know, but I would say, Matt, if he said it, he has a good source.
Okay. All right.
Hey, if Matt were attorney general, we know it. We already have some of these files, I think. So I'm all about that.
So you believe?
All right. We said, good Lord, this cannot be true. The U.S. government has been infiltrated, blackmailed, threatened, and bribed. We need to arrest the masterminds and the people caught in the spider webs. Enough is enough. Here is Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy talking about how much money was given to air traffic control, and what's going on.
And how much was spent to rebuild air traffic control? $5 billion. And of the $5 billion that was spent or was given, only $1 billion was actually spent. So they have made no investments in the system that we now see having issues in Newark. On top of that, they were focused on things like racist roads. They literally spent time concerned about the word cockpit and changing cockpit to flight deck. It's not funny. That's actually what they spend time on. Or airmen to aeronaut. And so now this administration has come in, and it was shortly after the DC air crash.
Airmen, like human. Airman, human. By the way, we're hearing that there's been a trade. Adam Schefter reporting Pittsburgh and Dallas have made a trade for George Pickens, expected to include a third-round pick going back to the Steelers. Oh, they're selling low on George Pickens. There you go. Moving on.
That I started to look at the air traffic control system. And very quickly, I saw one piece of the pie where there was issues, and then scratched further, and there's another piece of the pie. And as we looked at it, we see that the whole system needs to be redone. We need to build a brand new air traffic control system. And it was about 6 weeks ago, I presented that plan to the president. The president has signed off on this plan. I've been working with OMB and others inside the White House. We're going to roll out this infrastructure proposal on this Thursday. We have 47 groups that are going to come. We have unions, we have the industry, we have trade groups, we have the families from the air crash on the 29th of January are going to come. We have legislators. This is bipartisan. You have Democrats and Republicans. All of you fly. All of our families fly, and they want to make sure when they do fly, they can fly safely. And how much was spent to rebuild air traffic control?
You just wonder.
$5 billion.
Why was there
and of the $5 billion that was spent,
why was there no oversight, no accountability, no transparency, no results-oriented anything? It's almost like these things were designed to fail intentionally, and that it was never intended to address any problems. These were just ways to get money. The whole system needs to be redone. You know, look, I am reluctantly going, like I said, with the budget. I reluctantly support President Trump's need to ramp up what he needs to ramp up right now. Going into the war that we're going into, we need to be ready. Fixing the problems that were left for us, we need to be ready. I want to see a reduction in year 2. That's what I want. I want to see a drastic reduction in spending in year 2. But in year 1, when we have the House and the Senate, we have the presidency, give the president some money to rebuild Alcatraz, to fix air traffic control, to build the wall. No more excuses. Oh, we can send hundreds of billions to Ukraine, but we can't spend $5 billion to fix our southern border. Give me a break. And if there is some reason why we need 30 million illegal alien invaders to be dumped into our country, something about birth rates, something about population, something about... I want to know the information. Don't do it without explaining it. You have to justify your actions. And if you can't justify it, you can't do it. That's it. You can't spray shit in the sky unless you're going to tell me why. That is the line in the sand that I have. Harrison Smith says, kind of sucks knowing that no matter how successful Trump is, the enemy could always release a bioweapon in 2027 and derail everything. He should probably arrest everyone who did that already. Do you agree or disagree? Let's tell you about the FBI and what's going on, where they have resettled a whole bunch of people who are not assimilating into America. They're bringing their foreign country into an enclave in America. And what are they doing? Well, according to the FBI, it's really, 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 really bad. The worst place in America, actually.
This one's really fun. Did you know that the FBI recently declared Minnesota's 5th Congressional District as the terrorist recruitment capital of our country? Who is it represented by? Omar. And it just so happens that when Obama imported 70,000 Somalian immigrants, they all stayed there.
They're also all over Columbus. And if you drive through these areas, It doesn't feel like America. It doesn't feel like Ohio. This is not a good thing.
Can't make this stuff up. We are inviting them in to destroy our country.
Yep.
This one's...
Yep. Make alien enclaves illegal again. President Trump, the builder, is talking about the failures of Obama amongst the many. Here's a petty one, but it goes to a bigger concept.
Give him help because I'm a really good builder and I build on time, on budget. He's building his library in Chicago. It's a disaster. And he said something to the effect, I only want DEI, I only want woke. He wants woke people to build it. Well, he got woke people and they have massive cost overruns. A job is stopped. I don't know. It's a disaster. And I don't like that happening because I think it's bad for the presidency that a thing like that should happen. He's got a library that's a disaster. And he wanted to be very politically correct, and he didn't use good, hard, tough, mean construction workers that I love, Marco. I love those construction workers. But he didn't want construction workers. He wanted people that, like, never did it before, and he's got a disaster in his hands. Like millions of dollars, really many millions of dollars over budget. And I would love to help.
And is it over budget for a reason? Is it just money laundering? Inflated budgets, inflated timelines, everyone gets a kickback, everyone gets a piece of the pie.
Help him with it, or
I'd love to help him with it.
Somebody else I could recommend, I'd give him help
or somebody else to recommend. I'd rather see Obama in jail, so I don't know what we're doing, what we're talking about. We said MAGA are builders, Democrats are destroyers. It's that simple. How about that one? MAGA are builders, Democrats are destroyers. How do you feel about that? Is that something you would agree or disagree with? I think a key component to quickly identifying political ideology, you're either tearing down statues, trying to delete the Cleveland Indians, deleting Uncle Ben's, deleting Aunt Jemima, deleting roads, deleting forts, changing the word cockpit. Everything has got to be that. You have to destroy America and put some Leninist, Marxist, Stalinist, communist, socialist, utopian hellhole in its place. Or you could build great things. I think building great things is where it's at. I think MAGA members are builders and the Democrats are destroyers. Do you agree or disagree? MAGA builds, Dems destroy. Omar, oh my. Ben Geller reporting that all flights inbound to Pakistan and the west border of India have turned around. Pakistan reportedly shot down an Indian fighter jet, and India has begun shelling Pakistan. This is a pretty big deal. Further updates when available. Keep your eyes peeled. Gentry Gevers says we are living through the weirdest time ever. Can you see this? Yes, you can. The DEI Olympics, right. David can agree with that. I don't say Republicans are builders because Republicans are trash. MAGA are builders. Democrats are destroyers. Bella's Chance, you said you've worked with Muslims for years and your conclusion is they don't belong in our country. Now, why? The question is why? Because there's a lot of caliphate need in certain communities, whether it's Somalia, Middle East, where these enclaves are coming from. You look at what's happening all across Europe. The goal is not to move to Europe and become European. The goal is to go to Europe and change every sovereign nation into an Islamic caliphate, to make sure women walk around wearing bed sheets all day, looking like ghosts. Ooh, spooky. You know, I don't call myself a feminist because I've watched the weaponization of the term. Rush Limbaugh famously called them feminazis because it wasn't about equal rights, equal pay, and equal respect. It was about preferential pay, preferential respect, preferential hiring. And the flip side to that is aggressively going after males to knock males down a few pegs. The Obama doctrine, as I've long said, was to flood sovereign nations with non-citizens to permanently change their voting demographic so the citizens lose all control and the New World Order gets more of a foothold on planet Earth. It's to take over, it's to dominate, it's to destroy. But yeah, it's not about assimilating to the culture you're moving to. It's about going there to change it. It's going there as an infiltrator, going there as an invader, going there. I mean, you saw that caliphate roll through the world back before the Crusades happened to push that all back. You were taught, though, in school that Christians are bad and God is bad and white people are bad and Europeans are bad because those Crusades, they were pretty dark. They were pretty violent. You mean when they were repelling an Islamic invasion? The goal is to overtake everything. We've talked about radical Islam. Remember when the towers got knocked down by whoever did that? Whoever did Tower 7, the building that was not hit. We heard about radical Islamic jihad. And then it all just kind of went away during Obama. You just kind of, Oh, there's a migration crisis. Bullshit. There's colonization that's planned from Barack Hussein Obama. That was his plan. A colonization of all sovereign nations. Go to Canada. Go to Vancouver. Look around. Look what they've done to the country. Look in Minnesota. Look what they've done. Wherever they get a foothold. They don't assimilate. The goal isn't assimilation. The goal is overthrowing the people that currently reside there. That's an act of aggression. That's a war. That's a coup. That's treason. That's all of the things. Bella is saying their assimilation is a front. Their culture and religion allows for lying and deception. Isn't that called taqiyya, I believe? David saying they just don't believe in our traditions and way of life, but push everything to do with their certain religions and their way of life. Yeah, if it's so great, why are you here? Oh, well, my country was terrible. Okay, so you want to move into this country and make our country terrible. What does Dr. Evil say in Austin Powers? How about no? Minnesota has become Minnesota out. How do you correct it? And in David's opinion, a lot of them are not interested in the truth. No, they're in favor of dominance, power and control. It's not assimilation, it's domination. Anyway, back to this post. Gentry Geaver says we are living through we are living through the weirdest time ever. People are legitimately dumb. For example, one of Trump's first executive orders was to stop child mutilation and to establish that there are only two genders. We've known this from the beginning of time until about 10 years ago. We are winning the dumbest battles. I did mention this before. Real Sour Patch Lids from Colin Rugg says former housing official claims the U.S. government has secretly diverted $21 trillion to build an underground city network for the rich and powerful in a near extinction event. Catherine Austin Fitz suggests some of these bases are located under the ocean. Fitz previously served as the Assistant Secretary of Housing and Urban Development for Housing. She suggested there are 170 underground bases that are all connected by a big transportation network. Remember there was a conversation where they were talking about Elon Musk and you're giving him special authority to root through everybody's stuff and he doesn't have security. He has no business being in, he's going to steal your social security number. And he's like, yeah, I have above top secret clearance. Is it for the SpaceX stuff or for the boring stuff? Tunneling under the earth? Maybe both. So that's a very interesting story. This is KSL. Is saying a bill making its way through Congress would require anyone registering to vote. They would have to provide proof of U.S. citizenship, something Utah Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson says is problematic and impractical. Oh, Utah. No, Utah. Get rid of this person. There's nothing problematic about proving eligibility. Half of our life is proving eligibility. Elon says those who oppose proof of citizenship for voting are traitors to America. Yeah. So maybe those people need to be sent to Alcatraz. And I'm also okay renaming Alcatraz Fauci Island.
Says India has already agreed to
moving on to India,
drop all of their tariffs.
We're going to say, in some cases, we want you to open up your country. In some cases, we want you to drop your tariffs. I mean, India, as an example, is one of the highest tariffs in the world. We're not going to put up with that. And they've agreed already to drop it. They'll drop it to nothing. They've already agreed. They would have never done that for anybody else but me.
Alex Marlow, your reaction.
Yeah, let me, first of all, let's take the 51st day. Let's take it literally for a second. So if the benefit for Canada would be they'd get American military might, and they would get they would get the cohesion with our country, which we have a lot of shared values, and it feels like something that could be benefit for them in terms of national security, especially as they've been infiltrated from China, and we have a much more robust law enforcement that can help them crack down on some of the crime that they have, that they're starting to deal with illegal immigration, et cetera. With us, it also helps us with national security because Canada is sort of an unknown because they're weaker about dealing with that stuff. China is encroaching that country, which bothers us. We can finally get the fentanyl under control, and just generally expanding and dominating the continent sounds very appealing, but the main thing there is energy. It is energy. Trump cares mostly about energy. He understands in the AI arms race we're in, Andrew, we need more energy than ever. Yes. People are not getting this connection. If we're going to beat China at AI, then we need to be able to get every single ounce of energy out of the ground, and Canada moves very slowly on this. Joe Biden moves slowly on this, and if we can control it ourselves, I think Trump sees it as a benefit. Now,
I don't know if they move slowly. I think they work to destroy America. I think they think America's had it too good for too long. They can stay rich, but they want the rest of us to live in a shittier way of life. I'm not a fan of that. And I'm curious, is the India-Pakistan war in any way related to India saying they drop the tariffs? Who knows?
We were being ripped off.
Here's President Trump about tariffs.
By every country, practically without exception, in the entire world. And those days are over. Those days are over. And, you know, I said before in our meeting with the new and very talented Prime Minister of Canada that we have some very big announcement to make. It's not about trade. It's about something else, but it's going to be a truly earth-shattering and positive development for this country and for the people of this country. And that'll take place sometime within the next few days. We were being
So we'll see what that is. We just said it's nice to finally have an American president who prioritizes American interests. Thom Homan reacting to AOC.
When we first did one of these seminars, Thom Homan, then acting director of ICE, said that he was going to threaten to refer me to DOJ because I'm using my free speech rights in order to advise people of their constitutionally guaranteed protections. And he may want to do it again today. And to that I say, come for me.
Thom.
I feel like somebody's going to use that phrase and turn it into an EDM song. Come for me. And then there's that clip from President Trump. I'm going to come. I've heard that used in EDM music where the DJ drops that audio bite right before the drop.
Come for me, she said.
I take pleasure. I can live in her mind rent-free every day. But we all know exactly what she's doing. Like I just said, she's educating the worst of the worst. How to invade law enforcement. But the tables have now turned. She's educating people how to get prosecuted. Because you have a final order. It is illegal to not comply with that order. It's a crime to take steps to not comply with ICE removal orders or not comply with ICE actions taken in custody. You can't hinder your own removal that was ordered by the federal judge. I would like AOC to read Title 8, United States Code 1253, because it's starting tomorrow.
Do you anticipate other arrests of other judges across the country who are pulling these shenanigans by sneaking them out the back, Jack?
I think some sanctuary cities, you're going to see more judges make a very bad decision. I've said from day one, you cannot support ICE. You can support sanctuary cities all you want. But if you cross that line of impediment, which is a felony, if you cross that line of knowingly harboring, concealing illegal alien from ICE, that's a felony. We're going to ask the DOJ to prosecute. I'm not a prosecutor, but we're certainly going to ask for those prosecutions. You know, the Democrats said forever, no one's above the law. No one's above the law, but they want a different set of rules for illegal aliens. You said it in your monologue. The whole zero tolerance thing, right? They didn't want families separated when a parent was prosecuted. Kids can't go to jail with parents. But as a cop, when I started my career, I separated U.S. citizen families all the time when a U.S. citizen parent went to jail. U.S. citizen families are separated 1,000 times across this country every day. But they want a different set of rules for the illegal aliens. And as far as the removal of USC children, you're right. We sent 3 children with their mothers who requested their baby children go with them. If we didn't do it, then the story would be ICE is separating families again.
When we first did one of these seminars, Thom Homan, then acting.
There we go. What a weird timeline. There was a ruling yesterday, Supreme Court upheld that the United States can keep people out of the military if they're suffering from gender dysphoria, colloquially called trans. Here is Pete Hegseth with a statement.
We are leaving wokeness and weakness behind. No more pronouns, no more climate change obsession, no more emergency vaccine mandates, no more dudes in dresses. We're done with that shit.
Does it feel nice to just finally hear that out loud? Actually, that's what I'm gonna type. Doesn't it feel nice to finally hear this out loud, spoken out loud? So there you go. In Vanderbilt University, according to Ken Silva here, they're saying Vanderbilt University Medical Center knew about Audrey Hale's homicidal fantasies for years before she went and murdered a bunch of Christian children. So, of course, they arrest the officer who may have first leaked that info. Remember, this was after they were hiding this information from everybody. Former Metro Police Lieutenant Garrett Davidson has been arrested and charged in connection to leaking documents belonging to the Covenant School shooter. Davidson arrested by TBI and Robertson County Sheriffs this morning. This morning? So lying about the homicidal whack jobs history in hiding this pertinent information from the public is celebrated for some reason, but releasing the manifesto information is a crime? Make it make sense. That's a comment I'm dropping there. I guess this just happened. This arrest just happened. So that is your news from our Instagram feed. Oh, we have a lot on X. How quickly can we get to it? All right, we'll start here. Share this tab instead. Lightning round. Oh, say lightning round. Let's go through it. What was this?
They are systematically taking over Nigeria, and they want to make Nigeria into a Muslim caliphate. And
This is a well, this is kind of the topic we were talking about.
Fulani ethnic militia, the Muslim terrorists, go into Christian villages. They're not coming in with cattle. They're coming in on motorcycles with AK-47s and killing everything that moves, and then destroying and razing the entire village.
And yelling Allahu Akbar while
yelling
they do
Allahu Akbar while doing it. And has nothing to do with climate change. These are nomadic herders that have 500-year-old view of cattle farming. Nigeria was 70% Christian.
Amazing.
Now
70% Christian. Why are we not defending the attack on Christianity globally?
Oh, it's 50-50. It's 50% Muslim, 50% Christian.
Because they've been killing.
Because they have been going back to their systematic jihad. Now, look, Islam has conquered every civilization it's touched since 640 AD through 3 methods of jihad.
And it's often said that Islam is not a religion, it's a political ideology for world domination.
1, cultural jihad. We'll move in, we'll blend in with the population as we're a minority. Then they start gaining a population, having lots of kids. Then once they get a population, they do political jihad. All right?
And cultural.
Then cultural jihad. Then after political jihad, once they have the political cover to do the violence, they go into violent jihad and take over territory. And that is how they have systematically taken over all of Northern Africa.
Well, and what's particularly interesting when you dig a little deeper is that the Fulani tribe doesn't just exist in Nigeria. They're in Sierra Leone and Senegal and right across the border, right? I mean, throughout the center and east of Africa and west.
And for some magical reason, every country they touch turns into war.
Yes, and when you
turns into genocide and turns into war. Every country that they touch.
Every country they touch turns to genocide and war. Of course, that was a conversation with Laura Logan. Laura Logan was a former CBS News correspondent who was sexually assaulted on February 11, 2011, while covering the Egyptian revolution in Cairo's Tahrir Square, attacked by a mob of Muslim men during celebrations following Hosni Mubarak's resignation. She was separated from her crew, beaten, and subjected to a sustained sexual assault before being rescued by a group of Egyptian women and soldiers. Flown back to the U.S. for treatment and later spoke publicly about the ordeal, emphasizing the brutality in her recovery process. She's seen it firsthand. Do you want to see it firsthand? Mark Carney showing restraint.
No, I mean, it's hard to justify subsidizing Canada to the tune of maybe $200 billion a year. We protect Canada militarily, and we always will. We're not going to, that's not a money thing. But we always will. But, it's not fair. But why are we subsidizing Canada $200 billion a year, or whatever the number might be? It's a very substantial number. And it's hard for the American taxpayer to say, gee whiz, we love doing that.
I'm so interested why Trump is being nice to this guy and why he helped put him in office. I don't understand why he didn't back Poilievre, why he had to go after. Well, anyway, here's the interaction. I know David was asking for this yesterday. Trump on Canada.
But now Canada is a very special place. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, I'd like to get your response to this too. But Mr. President, you have said that Canada should become the 51st state.
Yeah.
Oh, about Canada being our
No. Well, I still believe that, but it takes 2 to tango, right? But no, I do. I mean, I believe it would be a massive tax cut for the Canadian citizens. You get free military, you get tremendous medical cares and other things. There would be a lot of...
Their medical care is terrible. Oh, darn it. Why did...
Like a ruler, just a straight up. I'm a real estate developer at heart. When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful formation when it's together, I'm a very artistic person. But when I looked at that beauty, I said, that's the way it was meant to be. But, it's...
Artistic or autistic?
I do feel it's much better for Canada. But we're not going to be discussing that unless somebody wants to discuss it. I think that there are tremendous benefits to the Canadians.
Anyway, he's making his pitch. We'll see what happens with it. Continuing on the lightning round, Keir Starmer just sold British people out in favor of Indians, says Alex Armstrong. The government has complete contempt for the British working class. Indians will not have to pay national insurance for 3 years. For what reason are they deprioritizing residents? Two-tier Keir betrays British workers, says Nigel Farage. Check out that video. President Trump going after the Wall Street Journal, who he says has turned into a rotten newspaper. This is the moment where they say Mark Carney realized that he lost everything.
Seraphine Canada, is there anything he could say to you in the course of your meetings with him today that would get you to lift tariffs on Canada?
Is there anything he can say to you in your meetings today that could get you to lift your tariffs?
No.
Why not?
Just the way it is.
Nope. It's just the way it is. Okay, there you go. We had some Cleveland Cavaliers stuff. The Cavaliers, we were excited for a while, and then we had just one of the biggest meltdowns. One of the biggest meltdowns. This is the Cincinnati courthouse. I believe this is in the aftermath. That guy who raised that kid was out committing a robbery, had a handgun. He aimed it at the officers. He got shot and killed. And then the dad went and found just some random officer, some random white officer, and mowed him over. I don't know if this is connected to it, but this is the scene in the courtroom in Cincinnati. Aired yesterday. We're in Ellie De La Cruz jersey. I love that player. On the red. Absolute madhouse. Absolute chaos. So good. Things are just falling apart. Combat Weather says India launches airstrikes on Pakistan, and who may be finally retaliating after several strikes last month.
Our country.
You know, we talk about Minnesota. We talk about the invasion, Barack Hussein Obama, Ilhan Omar. And what does she think of, I don't know, certain people? Let's listen.
I would say our country should be more fearful of white men across our country, because they are actually causing most of the deaths within this country.
No, they're not per capita. They're not.
We should be profiling, monitoring, and creating policies to fight the radicalization of white men. I would say.
What an asshole. That's exactly what Barack Hussein Obama was doing by weaponizing the Justice Department. That's exactly what Barack Hussein Obama was doing with Merrick Garland, with Alejandro Mayorkas, to weaponize the Justice Department and our federal government against Americans. And this is exactly why we need to find out if Ilhan Omar illegally married her brother, and we could deport her or imprison her on Alcatraz. Vice President J.D. Vance chimes in and says, this isn't just sick, it's actually genocidal language. What a disgrace this person is. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of what's going on in South Africa. We're asking, did this woman marry her brother to circumvent U.S. immigration laws? Has this been fully investigated? This is a funny video. Voice was generated by AI. Trump never said this. But man, it's getting harder and harder to find things that it's getting harder and harder to tell a fake. Hey, here's an awful story. Uber passenger sentenced to life in prison for executing a mother of 4 who was begging for her life. You didn't see this on the news. A coward. Dash cam footage. This person's begging for her life as this idiot holds a gun to her head. The footage ends when Cruz notices the camera. The mother of 4's body was found 2 days later in the Pittsburgh area with a gunshot to her head. This is another black on white crime that you've never seen in the media. They will go nonstop on certain stories, but they'll ignore. Here's another one. 22-year-old woman shot and killed inside Columbia home by a man who just burglarized the house next door. Logan Federico, this lovely young lady, found dead in her Columbia home on Saturday, a Columbia home. This Alexander Dickey broke into 2 homes that night. The second home, he stole wallets and credit cards, then entered her room and shot her. Another black on white crime that you're not seeing in the news. Why does the news only show you George Floyd? They never show you charge after charge, atrocity after atrocity, as people like Ilhan Omar are trying to villainize, weaponize. Well, they're trying to villainize white people. It's been a strategy. It's been a core component of the Obama doctrine for decades now, and it's unfortunately still permeating our culture. Why is Ilhan Omar still in our Congress? I wish I knew, Bella. I don't get it. Where are the arrests? Where are the chances to remove the treasonous players? Roger Stone saying if Senator Thom Tillis doesn't support Ed Martin for U.S. Attorney in D.C., Laura Trump, a native North Carolinian, should challenge Tillis for re-election in the 26th Republican U.S. Senate primary. Thom Tillis is causing a big problem right now. What does MFW mean? My face when. Okay. My face when we pass someone alone in their car with a mask on, and my kid says, probably voted for Biden. Yep. Mission accomplished. 60 Minutes did it again, this time with liberal activist lawyer Mark Elias, who they managed to paint as a victim. They whitewash his instrumental role in the Russia collusion hoax. Nothing he promoted, noting that he promoted at least one allegation by the Clinton campaign as general counsel, failing to mention that he bankrolled the infamous Steele dossier. Mark Elias, one of the worst people, surely on the list to go to Alcatraz for treason. Wonder why Mark Elias is nervous about the next 100 days? Because the hammer of justice is coming.
And so everybody needs to wake up. We're only 100 days in, and this is how far the goalposts have moved. Just imagine what it will look like another 100 or 500 or 1,000 days from now.
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking. Mark Elias showed up at Roger Stone's trial to demand that the judge not give his defense attorneys the so-called crowd strikes memo because he knew it would prove that there was never any evidence that the Russians hacked the DNC. Never happened. Seth Rich was destroyed, targeted, eliminated because he was proving that the DNC rigged their primaries against Bernie Sanders for Hillary Clinton. Vigilant Fox says Trump pitched annexing Canada. Carney campaigned against him. But when the cameras roll inside the Oval Office, something changed. Trump played the long game. In Carney, he might have unknowingly walked straight into it. We're watching the art of the deal play out in real time. Here's a thread from the Vigilant Fox. Check it out on our X feed. This is just a quick dunk by... Oh, my goodness. That was Donovan Mitchell, but unfortunately the Cavs lost. Because of all the injuries, Cavs gave away playoff jerseys in case they need minutes from anyone in attendance tonight. It's kind of funny. All right, non-basketball related news. Let's find you something here. This man.
You're gonna check me in. I bet you we won't.
I paid for a ticket. Yeah, I paid for a gate.
Black female gate agent.
I just said that I would pay the $25.
Denying a man the ability to check in.
And you thought you were gonna get on your flight. And you thought you were gonna get on your flight.
I literally paid for a ticket. I'm here 30 minutes. I'm here 30 minutes before my flight, and they're not letting me check in.
And you're not getting on your flight. It's a policy. We don't control that.
And you were about to let me check in.
Make me check you in.
No, they are. I'm super happy.
You don't have to worry about it. You're literally not doing your job. For
not doing their job.
Your reaction.
I don't know. Hey, check this one out. MJ Truth Ultra says Representative Leanna Garcia passed out while talking about her bill, which is banning weather modification. The implication is they got her.
So, Governor, forgive me. I've got to sit down because I am not feeling well.
Hey, we got you. We got you. Would you bring it up?
So that's odd. That's odd. This guy's laughing. President Trump versus Carney.
Watch. He's about to say Canada will never be for sale. Watch Trump's face.
It's not for sale, won't be for sale ever. But the opportunity
well,
in the partnership.
Canada will never
Watch
be
Trump's
for sale.
face.
Well,
it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever. But the opportunity
well,
in the partnership.
No?
This nigga funny, bro.
Trump is maybe the funniest president we've ever had. David Harris saying, have you ever flown Frontier? How would you react to being treated this way? He's 30 minutes before his flight. They refused to check him in because he didn't agree with the $25 agent assist fee to check in, even though he said he would pay it. And look at this power trip. Look at the aggression. She is really getting off on making this person pay. Here's a story about a homeowner who was forced to move into his own house together with squatters after police told him that the squatters couldn't be removed under Illinois state law. We're just saying flee blue cities, flee blue states. What the actual F? Well, here's a long message about Democrats losing control. Oh, and check this out. Karen Bass is ready to declare properties in the Pacific.
It's because of the fire debris.
Because of fire debris.
This is literally right outside the police department in Los Angeles. What you see there on the wall is human excrement. That's actually a human turd. And spray all over the walls of the police department. Piles of trash like this, stacked up on every street
Los
corner.
Angeles, people. This is what they tolerate. Nobody
Check
should
out
live
this lot right here.
Look at this.
Does this seem like a nuisance?
Priorities.
And you leave the debris situated there, we are going to have to declare it a nuisance and we will have to hold you responsible.
Well, they leave debris all over Los Angeles and nobody's held responsible. So here you go. Watch this. Social media users praising a Cincinnati father, Rodney Hinton, for murdering a random police officer after his son was shot by a police in a carjacking incident. Now I got to mute the music. People have lost their damn minds. This guy, no remorse, calling him a man of honor. Look at these terrible comments. Eye for an eye. Look at this guy, how he's acting. Puffing his chest out, strong chin looking up. This is just the beginning. We're going to see more of this. All these white cops don't intimidate a man who blah, blah, blah. The world hates to see a black man protect his family. Guess we're all going to go blind instead of understand him. This guy's being praised. I don't understand the praise for randomly mowing down an innocent man because your kid was a dirtbag. Don't get it. Here's a Babylon Bee story. It's so funny. It's surprisingly accurate. Woman terrified of white men leaves Africa for Minnesota. By the way, marries a white man, right? After she allegedly married her brother, whatever that story is. The media lied about Fauci.
Why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus?
Why do you keep calling it the Chinese virus?
Are reports of dozens of incidents of bias against Chinese Americans in this country. Your own aide, Secretary Azar, says he does not use this term. He says ethnicity does not cause the virus. Why do you keep using this? A lot of people say it's racist.
It's not racist at all. No, not at all. It comes from China. That's why. It comes from China. I want to be accurate.
It comes from China, and you want to be accurate. The virus was from a Tony Fauci-funded gain-of-function lab in Wuhan, China, and it was intentionally released, potentially. Countervailing views, CISA.gov/rumor control, WHO. Go to who.int and cdc.gov at the bottom of your screen there, by the way. What else? Representative Rosa DeLauro says, where's the evidence of a failure from FEMA? And Secretary Noem says, we still have claims open from Hurricane Katrina. So do with it what you will. Treasury Secretary Bessent says over 500 million payments made in 2024 were untraceable back to appropriations. The scale of this corruption and fraud is incomprehensible. Music star Eric Church confirmed he purchased another 2 large properties to build homes for Hurricane Helene victims in western North Carolina. Plans on building 200 homes. God bless Eric Church, from Matt Van Swol there. Trump has banned Chinese gain-of-function research, as we talked about. This is going to be a WNBA trio worth watching, perhaps. Liberal boomers got played. Episode We Told You So. Rest in peace, Logan Federico. Have you even heard her story aside from my story? Beautiful young lady, just snuffed out by this monster. Violent Trantifa trying to break inside a building because Riley Gaines is speaking at Portland State. They're assaulting police, trying to smash the glass, and these violent extremists believe that those who advocate for sex-based sports policy are advocating genocide and should be met with violence, even murder. Straight up domestic terrorism. Uh, 100,000 federal workers applied for and received unemployment benefits while they were working. That's called fraud, and we need arrests. Thom Tillis is dying on this hill of stopping Ed Martin. DC Drano saying his shady dealings will be exposed and he'll be taken down, calling him a criminal who's trying to stop a good cop from investigating. Yeah, this Ed Martin situation is massive. He's the prosecutor on top of the FBI running all DC criminal investigations. The choke point for DC's worst secrets. If Ed Martin is blocked and Boasberg picks instead, Trump's 2.0 momentum is totally paralyzed. Rand Paul has known Ed Martin for over a decade. Trump's mission restored lawful order to D.C. If the Senate fails to confirm this, the D.C. chief judge will be, with a history of ruling against Trump, will be allowed the opportunity to pick the replacement. Yeah. This Thom guy is at the center of it. Thom Tillis trying to block Ed Martin. It's maybe the number one story today. Get with the program, says General Mike Flynn. We've had enough of this. And that would block the agenda. Babylon B says Corporal Klinger has now finally been discharged from the Army after the trans-military ban. Well, good. That's about 50 years in the making. Bravo. Good for you. 6-3. The ban on people suffering from gender dysphoria has been upheld 6-3. MJ Truth Ultra says, I'm honestly surprised no country has tried to invade us already. High Court handed the White House a win as Trump seeks to unmake the Biden-era diverse DEI agenda. Court stayed a lower court order allowing the Pentagon policy to take effect. Sotomayor, Kagan, and Brown Jackson would have denied the administration's appeal and kept the lower court injunction in place. They do everything wrong, almost everything wrong. Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson. Almost everything wrong. And Hallmark is raising their prices because of tariffs, but all their stuff is manufactured in Kansas. So they're running politics. You should be aware of what Hallmark is up to. Don't let them get away with it. Here's a question of where did these 20 million extra votes come from? Wall Street Apes asking about 2020. Never stop looking into 2020. And that's what I had to share with you today. An abbreviated show, but a good show. I tried to give you as much of what's going on as quickly as I could, but now I need to run. So please follow us at the places on the bottom. The New American Media is on Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitch, Kick, DLive, and YouTube under the New American Media. TNAM and TNAM Chat on Telegram and Signal at American_Media_ on X, and find the Agree to Disagree show and the Unhappy Hour Sports Show on Spotify and Apple. And if anyone wants to toss something into our tip jar, we're on Patreon at the New American Media, Venmo at Brian Engelman, Cash App Brian Engelman, and Fuzz installment on PayPal. I'll be back again tomorrow. covering the news. Until then, I appreciate you. I love you, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Peace. Peace. Again. Peace. Where is it at? There it is.